Professor Allan Saxe on the line right now, and we're talking about the future of defense under this new General Mattis. Good morning, Professor. Thanks for coming on here this morning.
Sir.
Not that he's new; he's kind of old school, right?
Well, he's 66 years of age. His whole career has been built around the military. I think he's never been married. He is an Army man. He's a scholar. He reads voraciously, has his own private library. So he really is in the tradition of the old military men.
Yeah.
He's called sort of a modern-day enactment or a replica of General George Patton. General Patton had a family, but his whole life was built around the Army, as a lot of people might remember. And General Mattis has been called by Donald Trump a general's general. And I think that's, by all accounts, a pretty good representation.
Now, do you? It's surprising, though. I was surprised anyway to see when asked about the Iranian deal. I believe the general said that it would not be a good idea to pull out of it at this point because it's already come so far.
I think he actually did say that. You're correct. But there's a way of making sure that Iran goes by the agreement. And if they make some mistakes, and I think they've already, not mistakes, if they've already not gone along with the agreement as we understand it, there could be repercussions.
Yeah,
I'm sure that General Mattis would be willing to carry those out. I think more than anything else, the fact that Donald Trump has picked somebody like General Mattis is sort of a sign to the world, don't mess with us.
Yeah,
because there's been at least sort of an understanding among the military that their morale is not very high during President Obama's administration. So Donald Trump wants to bring back that morale, expand the military. He talked about that during the campaign. And General Mattis, of course, is probably a pretty good person to lead that.
Now,
lead it in that direction.
Do you think that he will end up being appointed or confirmed based on the fact that he needs this waiver from Congress because the federal law requires a member to be a member of the military to have been retired for about 7 years, right?
Exactly. I'm sure he'll get that waiver from Congress. There may be one or two people voting against it.
Yeah.
And that was brought in, of course, because we have this great civilian tradition, and necessarily so, of a civilian control of the military. That goes all the way back to General George Washington. But Congress will give him that waiver, and I think he'll be confirmed pretty easily by the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans. There'll be some slack. It's bound to happen. They'll probably come up with some military person who'll be very critical of him. In fact, that's already happened. But in general, I think he gets rave reviews in the military, the rank and file, his experience, and I think he's a perfect person that Donald Trump has picked to lead the American military into a better morale status and also an expansion of the military that is probably going to happen during the Trump administration.
How did he get the nickname Mad Dog? Do we know?
That's a good question. Apparently, by some of the comments that he's made, he's like General Patton.
Yeah,
and a lot of people might remember General Patton was not politically correct.
Right.
Neither is Donald Trump, and apparently neither is General Mattis. There is a gentleman in my own political science department at the University of Texas at Arlington who is a longtime Marine, and he mentioned General Mattis to me some months ago. He said, there's this guy by the name of General Mattis, and we really respected him. And then all of a sudden, a couple of months later, Donald Trump picks a man who, frankly, I had never heard of.
Right.
But now I've heard of him. So apparently the rank and file in the military, especially in the Marines, know of this man and respect him very greatly.
Right.
I was watching a news program, and I actually found out that Mad Dog was his call sign. And,
okay.
And that's something
that is, right?
Yeah, and that's something that's given by his colleagues.
I would also wonder, and I don't know if you know any about this, Professor, that where was he on? There was controversy, if you remember, during the first Gulf War of whether or not should we have gone in, and General Schwarzkopf said we should have gone in, and President Bush at the time said, of course, no, we're not going to be in the business of nation building. Then later on, we ended up going into Afghanistan and then into Iraq, which some say was a mistake. I wonder where he was on. Do we know where he was on those issues?
Well, I know he was actually in a combat mission in both Iraq and Afghanistan, but I don't know his views on it.
Yeah.
And, of course, given the chain of command, his views, of course, would not be well known to the general public. And that may come up, in fact, during these hearings, but I don't know. But I don't think he's going to have any problems whatsoever. By the way, he got the nickname Mad Dog. I've been given the nickname Chihuahua.
Okay, I like that.
I'm ready for it.
I like that.
I'm
yeah.
ready for him.
All right, then, Chihuahua. We'll talk to you again soon.
I think it's a good choice overall. Not me, but him.
All right, Professor Allan
Thank you,
Saxe.
sir.
Thanks so much. We
Thank you very much.
appreciate the time. See you later, Chihuahua.